good morning. My name is Asmaa Abu Heen. I will explain a poem written by T.S. Eliot called Cousin Nancy. This poem, Cousin Nancy, appeared in T.S. Eliot's first volume of poems. It's one of a series of poems included in the volume which satirize and analyze the stuffiness of a New England society by contrasting the totally modern cousin Nancy with the more traditional attitudes of those around her. Let's read a poem and then analyze it. Miss Nancy Ellicott strode across the hills and broke them, rode across the hills and broke them. The barren in New England hills, riding to hounds, over the pasture. Miss Nancy Elcott smoked and danced all the modern dances, and her aunts were not quite sure how they felt about it, but they know that it was modern. Upon the glazing shelves kept watch. Matthew and Waldo, guardians of the faith, the army of unalterable law. When you look to the title of this poem, Cousin Nancy here, we can ask ourselves, is Nancy here is younger or not? Or what generation has Nancy belonged to? And if you, Nancy, describe her as the young woman, what evidence that she is young? If from the poem here, if from the poem, she is here Miss Nancy Illicit. Here, the word miss here may be evidence that Nancy is a young woman, but in the middle aged and elderly women can be unmarried. So we can uh, sh- we can look to another evidence when the poet mentioned that her aunts here he and her aunts were not quiet, maybe making her seem younger, or when the poet is described her doing very active things like strode across the hills and rode across the hills and riding the hounds. Maybe all of these possibilities indicates that Nancy here is young woman. We notice also in this poem that the woman here is active and strong. She is breaking the rules of the England society. She is doing something new, like smoking, like dancing. The smoking here is no longer special for men only, but also women can do it. Also, we when we look uh, note that Eliot's poems doesn't show the older generation criticizing the new. Here, when he say, and her aunts were not quite sure how they felt about it, meaning that her aunts don't know how to feel about Nancy's behaviors, but they can identify it as modern only, and her aunts not criticizing what Nancy do like smoking and dances, only they can identify it as modern. Also, when we look, Miss Nancy Ellicott here, cousin Nancy's surname Ellicott is rather close to the surname of the poets. T.S. Eliot. Here, and this evidence that T.S. Eliot tried to do something new and modern, which breaking the mainstream conceptions of poetry and the poetic. Also, in the final stanza here, Matho and Waldo refers to two giants on the 19th century history of ideas, Matthew Arnold and Ralph Waldo, representing here with gentle mockery the force of rational anti Christianity, the army of unalterable law, a rational, struggling with reason, a relatively ancient social traditional. We look notice here that the tone shifts dramatically to hard icon here of change and revolution. And we look also they the poem have no particular form or meter being modern poems and we the three we look at three the poem consists of three stanzas and each stanzas includes different lines and this what I want to explain about this poem, Cousin Nancy. Thank you.